Hello there! In today's video, I want to talk to you about why so many successful people are not happy, and hopefully at the end of the video you will feel inspired to rethink and reflect about how to build real success and real happiness for yourself. So stay tuned. A few years ago, when I was still very active on Facebook, I stumbled upon a post on a group confirmed by college students, and it was a guy that was asking the following question: why do I feel empty and unsatisfied, even though I already accomplished all the goals that I had? For me, honestly, that question was stupid because I thought the answer was obvious, and I really didn't thought that people would worry about this kind of stuff. But despite the fact that I completely ignored this post, the question never left my mind. And I realized that there is an issue regarding the relationship that we have created and the connection that we have created between the concepts of success and happiness. So the guy that asked this question believed that he would achieve all his goals and all his dreams, and after that he would be happy ever after. But not only he did not feel happy, he felt that his life had no meaning anymore and that there was nothing else to fight for, because all the thrilling and all the motion of his life was to pursue and to fight and to struggle into achieving those dreams and goals that he had. Let me know in the comments if you or anyone you know have suffered a situation similar to this one, because it is really common. And now the question that I ask myself is, why is it that many people that have everything they wanted don't feel satisfied or don't feel happy? And now, before answering that question, I want to explore a little bit deeper into the concepts of success and happiness, because that's where everything comes from. That's where the issue is born. All right? So, on one hand, we have the concept of success. The general meaning of success is the satisfactory completion of something. So, let's say you are working on a project. You work really hard on it until you finish it. Then you'll succeed, right? Well, not necessarily, because we have been used to associate success to other things like wealth, fame, fortune, recognition, and if the completion of our projects don't bring those results, we won't be perceived as successful. So society has created within the consciousness of all the individuals a fixed and almost archetypical concept of success. And it is a very dangerous concept because it makes us want to pursue things and achievements that will only satisfy the egoistical needs of our identity, the egoistical desires, that part of ourselves that wants to present itself as a certain type of person to society. So the achievements of wealth, recognition, fame, and fortune, we pursue those because in our mind, that is what people want to see in ourselves. So we want to present to other people as those things, because that way we will get some kind of approval, some kind of recognition, some kind of applauses, and we will be glorified, or that's what we think. So it's kind of, we create a character that is wealth, that is famous, and that have all this kind of recognition, and we assume that having all that stuff, that creating that character, will bring us happiness and being satisfied and feeling like the king and queens of the world, right? But that's not true. And now we have to discuss a little bit more about what happiness means. So happiness to me is a really delicate concept, and it is a word that has been overused and misused throughout the history of humanity, almost, right? But the way that I want to treat this concept is relating it to success through a connection of cause and effect. So I want to ask you, do you think that happiness comes after success, or is it the other way around? How do you think it is? And do you think that it is possible to be successful and happy at the same time? Because the way society has been built and has been constructed and structured by ourselves, it seems that it's practically impossible, because we have been trained to have all these achievements, to have all these goals accomplished, and then happiness will follow. So they tells us all the time, the system, our schools, our governments, our families, our partners, our friends, everybody is constantly telling us, you won't be happy until you graduate. When you get married, happiness will come to you. When you have your successful business. So the truth that we've been operating under is that happiness will follow success. So happiness will depend only on what your circumstances are. You are happy depending whether or not you have a beautiful house, whether or not you have a Hollywood looking boyfriend or husband. Your happiness will depend on your bank account, on your money, on the type of friends you have, on the type of car you drive, right? So we have created a concept of happiness that only depends on the world outside of you. But the truth is, well, before I tell you what the truth is, I think that happiness is a conglomerate of positive feelings that altogether confirm this image of happiness, this elevated feeling, and this elevated emotion that we call happiness is a conglomerate of feelings. For example, let's say a sunset. A sunset is beautiful, but the sunset is not only the sun. The sunset is the sun, the flowers, the sky, the clouds, the birds that go by, and everything that the landscape itself presents, right? The same way it's with happiness. Happiness is not just one thing. Happiness is the result of many positive feelings that we can create. We can create happiness. We don't have to depend on our circumstances to be happy. That's the truth. We don't have to depend on the car that we drive, on the type of boyfriend or girlfriend that we have to create our happiness. We can give birth to these positive and beautiful feelings from scratch, right? We don't have to, we don't have to condition ourselves to have certain type of life to be happy. We don't have to do that. We can create those feelings for ourselves, right? Because they don't depend on our circumstances. If we create our life when feeling happy, feeling satisfied, feeling fulfilled depends on our circumstances, of course you're going to be miserable. Even though you have a beautiful house, even though you have the most amazing, super, ultra, hyper, mega car, it won't be successful. It won't be a successful life. Because let me ask you, do you think that if you are not happy, you can be successful? Do you think that having all that stuff, all the cars, the beautiful, the wealth, all that stuff, that having that and you're not happy, are you really successful? I don't think so. I don't know about you, but I don't think so. So we have been used to this idea that success causes happiness. But in reality, it's the other way around. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why in a minute, but first I want to go deeper into this relationship between happiness and success a little bit more. So the thing that happens with people that have it all and yet are not happy is that they try to fill spiritual needs with material achievements. They try to fill this spiritual void that we all are born with material stuff, with appearances, with a facade, creating this wealthy and successful character. Just so other people outside of themselves, society, and everyone else would look at them and would say, wow, this person is so successful, they must be so happy. But then when tragedies happen to these so-called successful people, then everyone would say like, why would this happen to that person if they're so successful, if they have it all? Why would they feel that way if they have the perfect life? Why would they even have feelings? And look, suffering and tragedies happen to anyone. It doesn't matter how successful or how a failure you are, right? It doesn't depend on how wealthy you are, on how successful, or if your boyfriend or girlfriend is Hollywood looking, right? But our twisted conception of success and happiness make this suffering a lot bigger, right? Because we keep on pursuing happiness through these achievements, and then we don't find it, and then we don't know what's going on, and then we think that there's something wrong with us, and then we fall deeper into this feeling of unsatisfaction because we apparently have it all but don't feel like we have it all. And it is because we have been trained to look for happiness outside of ourselves, clueless of the infinite source of happiness that we have living here inside of us, right? And what does it mean? What does it mean really? It means that we have to look for happiness not outside but inside of ourselves first. And it is a really tricky concept to look for happiness inside of ourselves, and it is like something cheesy or something like cliche. I don't know, maybe you have heard it in some other, I don't know, video, TV show, soap opera, book or whatever. It is a really talked about concept, but it is a really true concept, and something that we all have to think about really deeply and with seriousness, with real seriousness, because what the world is giving us, what society is giving us, is not something that helps us. Society has given us confusion, illusions, has given us judgment, and nothing really that we can work with in a way that we can operate from our true, authentic selves. So what does it mean to look inside of ourselves for happiness? It means that we have an inner wisdom. We have an inner voice that is constantly telling us and reminding us what is our true purpose, what is the truth about ourselves. It is constantly telling us who we are. Here is where our intuition lives. And our intuition, our inner wisdom, our inner voice knows better than our conscious self, the one that is always leading us into looking for the approval of others instead of our inner approval, which is the one that really matters, right? The thing is that this inner voice and this inner wisdom, it is a really soft voice. It whispers, and it kind of burns inside of us, but it's very mild compared to the voice of society, which is always like screaming and shouting, and is really invasive. So it is really hard to really get in contact with our inner wisdom and our inner truth. And it all depends on what voice you choose to follow, what voice you choose to hear, right? And it requires a lot of discipline, because it is a relationship that you're building with yourself. It is an exercise almost to just shut up the world outside of you and start listening to you. It is even painful sometimes, because it will reveal the things that you've been hiding to yourself. It will reveal the dreams that maybe you have forgotten you had. right? So it requires discipline because it will take you to a future that will be more successful and more fulfilling than the one that if you maybe just follow what your parents told you to do or your teachers or your friends, right? It also requires a lot of focus because it is a thread that you follow to yourself. So it requires focus and concentration because society's voice can be confusing and it can be deceiving, and you can confuse it for your own voice when it is really not, right? So discipline and focus and work on being happy right now, because once you're happy the success will follow. And this is a really big concept and it's something that requires a lot of work, but if you find a way to do it, the results will be undeniable. So some practical things that you can start doing if you really want to build an authentically successful life and an authentically happy life is first to start being honest with yourself. Start being honest with what you really want for your life, what your values are. Start setting your goals. And look, goals are important, but not because you are going to accomplish them. Not necessarily because of that. Goals will reveal to you what is it that you truly are, what is it that you truly value. Because all our achievements and all the goals that we get to accomplish is a form that our inner self shows itself with. All right, I don't know if I'm explaining myself correctly here, but let's dwell on this for a minute. So we all have an immutable part attached to ourselves, something in us that never changes. And this immutable, invisible part will take form through the things that we do on the outside, the things that we build on the outside. So setting goals and accomplishing things is that immutable part taking form and manifesting itself. So that's why you have to be very intentional and very conscious when setting goals and in thinking on what you want your life and your circumstances look like. Because that's where your immutable self will take place. That's like the will of your immutable self will take place on the things that you accomplish, on the things that you desire, and on your dreams. That's the immutable part of yourself. So that's why the circumstances really don't matter. What really matter are the values and the inner motives that you have and the inner intentions under which you're building your life and your future. The second thing that you can start doing to build an authentically successful life is to practice feeling positively. Happiness is a conglomerate of positive feelings, and those feelings really don't depend on your circumstances. One thing that you can start doing to practice feeling positively despite of your circumstances is being grateful, is starting to find things, even little things in your surroundings, in your life that make you feel grateful for. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be your bed. It could be little things. And with the little things, you will start to be aware of the bigger things that you can be grateful for. And gratitude brings to you a sense of satisfaction and love for the life that you have, despite of the bad things that could be happening, right? So start practicing gratitude. And the last thing is that you have to come to the realization that you are successful right now to the eyes of the universe, to the eyes of God. You are already successful because you're here, you're living, you're breathing, you're using your life. Even if you're just sitting there, existing is already an act of bravery. it's already that's success. And that's success to the eyes of God and the universe. And that's the only perception that truly matters. The only one that matters. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I hope this video was insightful and inspiring for you. The comment section is available for you if you want to comment any ideas or questions related to these topics. Don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to receive more content related to professionalism, success, and communication in English. Right? So I hope you have a very nice day, night, or evening, wherever you are, and see you in the next one.